Hey everybody, Weather Guy here, and today what we're going to be doing is ranking every game that I've played in my first year on this channel. I'm so excited about this. You know, we've had a lot of ups and downs. We've played a wide variety of games, everything from Chrono Trigger to Bear's Restaurant to BioShock. We've had every genre basically hit, so it's been a wild ride, and I thank all of you so much. I thank you so much for your support that you've given me. Now, a couple of rules before we get started. First of all, this is my very subjective ranking, right? So, some of these picks, I know one in particular, will be quite controversial, so please don't yell at me too much in the comments, alright? Please be patient with me, alright? And the second big rule is that we didn't complete every game that we started this year. There's a couple, namely Tears of the Kingdom and Hollow Knight, that we have not gotten to complete yet. Those will be on next year's list. So let's hop right into our list with number 16.
Why aren't these bears smiling?
And at number 16, we have Bear's Restaurant. Okay, so before I go any further, let me just say that every game on this list I enjoyed playing. So, just because Bear's Restaurant is at number 16 does not mean that I disliked it. I thought this was a great game, and honestly, I think this game might stick with me more than any other on this list apart from 2 or 3 that I won't name yet. In Bear's Restaurant, you basically play a creature or person that has to provide people their last meals during purgatory. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Anything else will be a huge spoiler. The reason why this game is kind of low, well, it's not kind of low, it's at the bottom of this list. The reason why this game is at the bottom of this list is because there isn't much actual gameplay to it. It's 2.5 hours long, and it plays out more like you're watching a movie. The thing is that it's a very captivating movie. It's really pulls at your heartstrings. I definitely cried multiple times during this playthrough. Thankfully, my camera was off. But yeah, this game is really something. I recommend you check it out for sure. It's worth the time that you put into it for sure. And it'll make you feel things. That's definitely for sure. It's just low on this list because there isn't much actual gameplay with it.
We're gonna be doing one thing, and one thing only. Killing Nazis.
And at number 15, we have Wolfenstein: The New Order. Now, I feel like this pick might be a little bit controversial with people. I'm not sure. This game is an FPS where you kill Nazis. Pretty self-explanatory. The reason why I didn't rank it as highly as other games is because I don't know, it just didn't quite stick with me. I thought that the main protagonist was kind of meh. He did a lot of whisper talking that made me laugh a bit. And yeah, I don't know. A lot of the other games I played, I just loved a lot more. That's all there is to it. This was okay, but I don't know. It didn't stick with me as much as the other stuff did.
Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
All right, next we have the first of our Shovel Knight games at number 14. We have Shovel Knight: Plague of Shadows. Okay, before I get any further, let me just say that I love Plague Knight. I loved the story that was told by him in this game. I thought it was great. I thought it was a wonderful love story. The thing that really stuck with me as hard to love, I will say, is the movement mechanics just didn't quite stick with me as much as they do in the other games. They're just not quite as intuitive as I would have liked. I do think that they present plenty of great opportunities for like speedrunning and stuff like that, but as a casual playthrough, I thought that throwing the grenades and all that was kind of, it was just a little hard to grasp. It wasn't super intuitive. I don't know. But again, I love the story. I love the dialogue. The gameplay just didn't quite hit as much with me as the other Shovel Knight games did.
That's Sonic's thing. Ugly Sonic goes slow, baby.
Next up, at number 13, we have Sonic Mania. Okay, everybody loves Sonic, right? I feel like everybody loves Sonic. Sonic Mania was Sonic. It was very standard 2D Sonic. There was nothing wrong with it. but at the same time, I didn't feel anything super innovative or anything like that. It didn't leave a very long-lasting impression on me. I did have fun playing it, but there wasn't really anything super new here for me. You know what I mean? I likely would never play through it again, even though I did have a pretty okay time playing through it. It's just, it's Sonic. You know what Sonic is. I can play any Sonic game and get the same sort of experience. Any of the 2D Sonics, at least. Don't get me started on all that 3D junk.
Mother always did like Richard best.
Your Highness, please don't do that.
Alright, next, at number 12, we have another Shovel Knight game. We have King of Cards. Okay, so, King of Cards, its biggest strength is 1,000,000% its dialogue. This game is hilarious. You play as the biggest, douchebag in gaming. It's fantastic. It's just fun being a jerk sometimes, you know what I mean? I think the issue that I have with this game is it is fairly short. The difficulty isn't very high, I don't know. And the movement just wasn't super interesting. There wasn't a lot of fun text or anything like that to do with the king. And I know that that's kind of counterintuitive to what I just said shortly ago about Plague Knight, where it was too complicated, but this might have been too simple. I don't know.
That's gonna kill me. That's real. That lives with us on Earth.
All right, here we go. Number 11. This is the pick that I said would be controversial. This pick is BioShock 1 at number 11. And I know, BioShock 1, it's a classic. Everybody loves it. It changed horror games. It had the best story. La da 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 da. I will say that I had a difficult time with it. I loved the twists in the story. That was great. The gameplay was fine. I didn't love it. It was okay. It was pretty standard FPS stuff for the most part. You got some cool powers and stuff. And I know that because I'm so late on playing BioShock that a lot of this stuff in BioShock 1 was very innovative for the time, but playing it in the modern day, it didn't hit quite as much for me as I feel like it did for people who played it at launch. It just didn't. I'm sorry. And another issue that rates it a little bit lower for me personally is that I am a big chicken. And as a big chicken, I sometimes have a hard time with horror games. You know what I mean? And I think another issue that I kind of had with it was the way the respawn system works, in that you can basically cheese through any fight if you just keep respawning and running up to them and hitting them with a wrench, you know? So it's kind of, I don't know. I appreciate it for what it is, but it isn't my favorite game.
What have they done to us? What did they do to us?
Okay, here at number 10, we have the other side of the coin. We have BioShock 2. And I know that this might also be slightly controversial, not just because it's fairly low on the list, but also because it's ahead of BioShock 1. And I will say that the main thing putting BioShock 2 above BioShock 1 for me is that I found the gameplay slightly more accessible, and I feel like I was more used to the gameplay by the time I got to playing BioShock 2. One big example of what I preferred in BioShock 2 was the way the hacking mechanism worked. It was super fluid and nice, and it wasn't a weird mini game where you try to put fluid through pipes like you're playing a mobile game in the year of our Lord 2023. It's so much nicer just how fluid everything is in BioShock 2. And the story might not hit quite as hard in BioShock 2, but it was still a great story, and it was really fun playing as a Big Daddy. That was really, really sick. Like, why would you want a wrench when you can have a big dang drill, right? BioShock 2 was just great for me. I don't know.
The number of the day, favorite one of mine. The number of the day is 9.
Alright, coming in at number 9, we have the original. We have Shovel Knight, Shovel of Hope. This is the first story in the Shovel Knight treasure trove. And you play as a knight who wields a shovel. Everybody knows this, right? If you're watching this video, you've probably played of or at least seen Shovel Knight. This was classic, great, platforming 2D action, great pixel art, great dialogue, fantastically designed levels, great progression. Bouncing on people with your shovel felt awesome, and I know this is kind of silly because that's basically what the mechanic is in King of Cards, but in Shovel of Hope, as my first game, it just hit great. It felt awesome. Everything was wonderful. It was a longer game than King of Cards as well, and the whole story with Shield Knight as well, which I won't dive too much into because of spoilerinos, but it was just wonderful. Shovel Knight is the classic 2D platformer experience that everybody needs to play, in my opinion. It's just great. It's wonderful. Play it.
This is the story of a
Cave.
who cried a river and drowned the whole world.
Alright, at number 8, we have the granddaddy of indie games. We have Cave Story. Cave Story is a game that I completed very recently. It actually hasn't been completed yet on the channel, but I have recorded it and I've completed the game, and I gotta tell ya, Cave Story was pretty fun. It wasn't super long, but it was a fun time. The difficulty was at just the perfect level. You know what I mean? Where it's challenging, but it's not impossible, but it's challenging enough to where you get that great sense of accomplishment whenever you beat it. You know what I mean? There's also multiple endings. There's awesome way to level up your weapons that sort of goes with your health, which is really cool. And you also have really cute characters and dialogue, and I loved everything about that. Just something about this game was just right. You can tell that this game became an indie darling for a reason. You know what I mean? It's classic, and there's a good reason why it's a classic. I'll say the same thing that I did for Shovel of Hope. You should play this as a 2D platformer. It's wonderful. It's a fun experience. It's just good. It's so good. It's so good.
To infinity and beyond!
Number 7 on our list, we have BioShock Infinite, the third in the trilogy, and this might also be a fairly controversial pick, putting it at above BioShock 1 and 2. But here we are, I did it, sue me, you know? BioShock Infinite, what I love about this game, and it's a reason why I like BioShock 2 more than BioShock 1, is I love its accessibility as a shooter. It felt great. Everything felt smooth and easy, and the world building in BioShock Infinite is just incredible. There's so many just oh my god moments whenever you walk around a corner and you see the cityscape or whatever. And the story is great. It's cool having a secondary character with you for most of the journey. The cutscenes are wonderful, and I don't know, the gameplay in this one is just so buttery awesome. And another huge plus point for me is that there's no horror really at all. There's maybe one jump scare in the whole game, which I won't spoil for you because I want it to get you to if you haven't played it. But yeah, BioShock Infinite, not scary. Not that difficult either, but it was still so fun. I think the one thing that holds it back for a lot of other people is the ending, which I won't give away. I thought the ending was just fine. It was a little bit confusing, but I thought it was fine. BioShock 1, I will say, I think had the best ending, but BioShock Infinite is definitely my favorite game out of the trilogy.
Death and despair! Death and despair! Death and despair! Death and despair! Hello?
Number 6, we have Shovel Knight, Spectre of Torment. Now, this was undoubtedly my favorite game in the Treasure Trove. Man, as soon as I played it, I knew this was going to be my favorite game. And there was one simple reason why. It was the movement was so crisp and buttery and intuitive and awesome. Felt so good doing those diagonal slashes and climbing walls and wall jumping. It was so nice, and you're this awesome, maybe the best character in the whole Treasure Trove in Spectre Knight. He's incredible, insane backstory, and he's just so edgy too, and we love edgelords, right? He's great. He's got a wonderful story, and again, the gameplay is so good in this one. I can't state it enough. The gameplay in Spectre of Torment is so good. It's better than the other games for sure, in my opinion, in the Treasure Trove. It's just so good. There's nothing really that misses about this game. I loved it so much. I have zero complaints, zero notes. Spectre of Torment is the game. You should play it. Alright, number 5, we have a pretty unique game. We have Undertale. And everybody knows about Undertale, right? You should know about Undertale if you've seen this. Undertale is a very, very unique game in that you can either fight your way through or you can love your way through. And I enjoyed this game so much that I played it twice on this channel. I did both main styles basically. Playing it through nicely is definitely a little bit harder. This game has wonderful dialogue. I think it might have the best music on this whole list, apart from maybe 2 other games I'm seeing now. And it's got multiple endings, great boss fights, incredible boss fights, great characters throughout. You'll laugh. I laughed more playing this game than any other game on this list. It's so hilarious. The dialogue is so funny. There's so many hilarious characters. Oh man. Not even hilarity, but there's also a lot of very emotional moments too. And they'll get you. You know what I mean? They'll get you, especially right near the end with certain characters, and when you realize the entire story of what's happened and everything. There's a lot of great stuff. And once again, I said this before, I'll say it again, the music is amazing. You've probably heard the music before, you just don't know it. It's so good. Everybody's heard Megalovania. What a jam! This game is the best. No, I can't say that. It's number 5. This game is the 5th best. It's great.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Number 4, we have Hotline Miami. This is another game with just an incredible soundtrack. So good. It just thumps and thumps and makes you want to dance. It's so good. And at the same time, you're just killing lots and lots and lots of people, and you're dying yourself a lot. This is maybe the most challenging game I actually played on this whole list. Hotline Miami is the hardest game I completed this year. It was challenging. But with that challenge, this game was so much fun. You feel like such a beast when you get things right, when you maul down a room of enemies. It feels so good. The energy on this is just so high, and it's so fun. I can't understate enough how fun this game is. And not only is it fun, but it has a story. It might be a little bit of a confusing story that I'm still not sure exactly what happened, but it has a story. It keeps you on your toes as well. Things happen sometimes after levels that you do not expect to happen. And it just makes me always on my toes when I played it. I loved this game so much. I really need to play Hotline Miami too. If for some reason you haven't played Hotline Miami and you want a challenging game to sink your teeth into while also just having a blast, this is it. And the thing about Hotline Miami is if you die, you just restart the level, and the levels aren't super long, so it's not very, very punishing when you die. It's punishing enough, but it's not enough to make you rage quit and throw your controller. You will continue to try this until you beat it, and it feels so good when you push yourself through, when you experiment and you figure out what works best for you. I cannot sing enough praises about Hotline Miami. So good.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Wait till I get going! Where was I?
Australia.
Okay, we are now getting into the top 3 of my list of games I played in 2023. And at number 3, we have Baba Is You. Now, this might be the most popular game I've played on this channel somehow. I've played much bigger games with a lot larger fan bases, but this is the one that flocks the most people to my channel. And I can see why. This is a wonderful puzzle game. It's so clever. And if you don't know what you do on Baba Is You, you basically have text on the screen and you have objects, and you can manipulate the text to change the rules of the game. You push it around with your little Baba and you can change a phrase like rock is key Or you can change like rock is push, right? And you can push the word push out of the way, and you can just make the rock not push, and all of a sudden you can't push the rock, you'll just walk right through it. Or it can be like wall is stop, and you push the word stop away from that phrase, and all of a sudden you can walk through the walls. And you have to find clever ways to manipulate these phrases and combine them together to solve puzzles, and it feels so good. It's so clever. This is a game that makes me feel simultaneously the dumbest and the smartest. When you don't figure it out, you will think and think and think. I take pictures of levels and then I study them after I'm done playing the game. After I'm done recording, I'll look at the level on my phone and I'll be like, how in the heck do I do this? And then sometimes you just get the light bulb, and that light bulb is incredible. You feel like you just solved calculus. I don't know. I couldn't think of a clever thing to say. This isn't a scripted list. I'm just saying the things as they come to my head. And what I want to say about Baba Is You is that it's the best puzzle game I've ever played. It's so good. You should play Baba Is You. It's cheap. It's got a relaxing soundtrack. It's fun. I don't know. And it's got a lot of levels. It's got 200 plus levels. I'm like 60 levels through it. I'm still working through this game on this channel, actually. I made an exception and included it on this list because I know generally what the game's like compared to Tears of the Kingdom and compared to Hollow Knight. Because I've played Baba Is You so much already, and it's so fun. I think I want to just do all the levels. I want to do all 200 plus levels, and think about how many games in your life that you've played where you want to play 200 plus levels of it. Besides like Candy Crush. There's not a lot of games like that, and this scratches that itch so well. Yeah, play Baba Is You.
What year is it?
It was brand new.
No. What year is it?
And our runner-up is Chrono Trigger at number 2. Chrono Trigger. You all know Chrono Trigger. This is one of the most popular and respected RPGs of all time. And it's so easy to see why. I put off playing this game for so long in my life, and I really shouldn't have. It's so good. The combat mechanics are great. The characters are wonderful. The story is what really drives it home. The story in this game is just incredibly epic. I can't understate enough how epic this story is. Just transcending time and space. So good. You meet so many great characters. I love Frog. Frog is the best. You'll see. Once you meet Frog, if you haven't met Frog for some reason, you'll know. You'll say, Frog is the best, and you'll see. Man, Chrono Trigger is so good. I don't want to talk about it too much because I'll spoil things, but yeah, you should play this. It's got great boss fights. It's got great music, great characters once again, and I don't know. And it's got multiple endings. We love games with multiple endings, right? It's so good. I don't know. You should play Chrono Trigger if you haven't. I can't say enough good things about it.
Pedro, how do you feel about that one?
It looks nice.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. It looks awesome. It's incredible.
Okay, we're here. We're at number 1. We all know what game was going to be here. It's the game of the year. It's Baldur's Gate 3. This game is so sick. This game is so fun. This is the best game I've ever played in my life. And I know that might seem like hyperbole or whatever, but it's so true. Even with its flaws running on my computer, it is so good. It's so good. If you are watching this video and you have not played Baldur's Gate 3, you need to go play Baldur's Gate 3 or live vicariously through other people and watch them play Baldur's Gate 3. It's so good. Holy moly. Okay. Okay, so where do you even begin with this? I don't even know. Okay, so the gameplay, so great. Gameplay's wonderful. If you ever played a Larian Studios game, you know what you're getting into with the gameplay. turn-based. You can move anywhere on the landscape. You get an action and bonus action. You choose what you want to do. And what else do we got going on? We have wonderful voice acting. Everything in this game, every character in this game is fully voice acted. There's so many voice lines in this game. It is absolutely insane how many people you can talk to and how many branches your dialogue can take. It's absolutely wild. Your choices matter in this game more than any other game I've seen. It's wonderful. Your choices feel like they have so much weight, and it doesn't feel railroaded. That's huge. And by railroaded, I mean it doesn't feel like if you choose option A, you go to choice A, and if you choose option B, you still somehow meander back to choice A. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like everything you do has real, true consequences, and that's huge. And there's not a lot of true fail states in this game. The only really true fail state is if everybody dies. But if you want to be evil, if you want to do bad stuff, you totally can, and there's an end game for you, and it is so good. If you want to be good, if you want to be medium, you can be medium. There's a wide range. There's so many different sorts of endings, I can tell. And man, again, the story is so good. The characters are incredible. The music is good. The environments are good. The world design is so good. The world is so densely packed with just things to do. There's always so many quests to do, and the quests are all so good. The fights are so satisfying. There's so much customization. The character creator is so sick. You can make so many different classes, subclasses, races, sub-races, so many spells to choose, and you allocate so many different combinations of things. You have feats, you have your ability scores. Man, there's all the loot. There's so many different magic items in this game. You're rewarded so much for exploring. It feels so nice. And even if you do something that you say you feel like is a mistake, right? If you choose what you think is the bad dialogue option, right? Like someone says something and you misinterpreted what they said and you say something stupid back to them, you're not screwed. The game just progresses you in a slightly different way and you're going to be fine. It just makes the game interesting, right? Everything you do makes the game more interesting in different ways. And the relationships that you can form with your companions are so good. It's so dynamic. It feels so earned. And the characters themselves, oh my god, the companions in Baldur's Gate 3 are so good. They're like the best characters ever. Holy moly, I'm not even exaggerating. These have the most incredible backstories, and they have such complex motivations. And man, you get to see them evolve with you over the journey, and it all feels so genuine and earned, and it's so good. Holy moly. And the fights are so epic. The twist hit you so good. You never see them coming. Man, this game, you just do so much cool stuff all the time. I wish I could play it forever. It's so great. That was the longest rant about how excited I am about a game I've ever had. But it's true. You should play Baldur's Gate 3 if you haven't. It is a sick, sick, sick game. That's why it's number 1 on my list. I feel like I didn't surprise a lot of people with this list. I think most people could have seen Baldur's Gate 3 coming. And it's funny because Baldur's Gate 3 is not a popular game on my channel. It's really not. And that's because it's such a saturated game, but man, it's so good. I don't even care if you watch my playthrough of it. You need to watch someone play this game if you can't play it yourself for whatever reason. You need to enjoy Baldur's Gate 3. Man, that is the game. And there we go. That is my list for the year, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely had fun recording this and talking about it and reminiscing about how much fun I had with all these games this year. Even the games at the bottom of this list, like your Plague of Shadows, your Wolfenstein, your Bear's Restaurant, I loved them. They're all really good games. They just are. And I hope you play some of these games too if you haven't. I really, really sincerely hope you try some of these out if you haven't. They're so much fun. And what I want to do is I want to invite you to tell me in the comments. Tell me games that you loved, that you played this year for the first time. Because everybody should try new things, right? That's what I love about this channel, is this channel has forced me almost to just try new games. And it's let me play games that I've always put off. And I'm so glad that I'm trying all these games for the first time. And it's been so rewarding. And so I want you to pass on that same gift to other people. I want you to tell them what games you loved that you played for the first time this year. So please do that in the comments if you can. If you enjoyed this, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know the drill. You've heard YouTubers say that for like 20 years now. But it sincerely helps me out a lot, and I sincerely appreciate it so much when you folks do those sorts of things. It really is awesome. And yeah, I think that's about all I got for you. If this is your first time seeing this channel, what else I have going on is I have Let's Play videos every single day of the week. I did it every day this past year, and I'm going to do it every day next year. And I hope you enjoy them. I have so many games coming down the pipe that I'm going to keep playing. So many games we just saw at the Game Awards that are going to be coming out and are exciting. Man, I'm in love with games right now. I can't stress that enough. I'm having a blast. I hope y'all are having a blast with your games too. Thank you so much for hanging out. Take care of yourselves, okay? And peace out.